Hello, and welcome to another episode of my 30 plus decks. Today I'm going to be showing off one of my favorite fun little gimmicky decks. This is Volo, Itinerant Scholar, and he has choose a background right up there at the bottom, so my background is Raised by Giants. So Volo is 2 and a blue for a 2/3 human wizard. When he enters the battlefield, I create Volo's Journal. Volo's Journal is a legendary token artifact with hexproof that says whenever you cast a creature spell, note one of its creature types that hasn't been noted for this artifact. And I will be noting on an infinite token. There we go. And then for 2, I tap Volo and draw a card for each creature type noted for target permanent I control named Volo's Journal. With the background that I chose, it has Raised by Giants, which is commander creatures you own have base power and toughness 10/10 and are giants in addition to their other types. So, truth be told, that's only there for the color, so I could have a blue-green deck. I have another Volo. It's in the deck as a blue-green creature, so I wanted to have both of these Volos in the same deck. And if you haven't guessed it already, the main part of the reason that this deck is just fun is because I am noting different creature types. I have a whole bunch of creatures in this deck that are a whole bunch of different types. For the most part, they don't necessarily synergize, I will be honest, but the cards that work best in this deck are something along the lines of, whenever I draw a card, this creature gets a 1/1 counter. So if I can get just a whole bunch of draw, a whole bunch of 1/1 counters on those creatures, hopefully no maximum hand size. I think that's in here a couple of times. But either way, that's kind of what I'm trying to do. Maybe even fill up a couple of pages in this journal. So hope you enjoy. Hope you have fun. I know that I will. Let's get going. Okay. And I'll also be honest, the Raised by Giants is kind of funny. It's definitely not a need for the deck. I could have just as easy had like Master Chef or something like that. But no. Volo being Raised by Giants and also just, having his perspective of things, I think it kind of just kind of fits. Anyways, let's go. Draw. Evolving Wilds. I will crack that for, let's see, for a forest. That sounds great. Enters tapped. That will be that first turn. All right. Now, as far as this goes, as far as my hand goes, I do have a couple of 1 and 2 cost creatures, but I don't want to get those out until I've got the journal. So untap, upkeep, draw. That's fine by me. Let's go with this island. And that should be fine. Turn 3. Draw. Let's go with this land for turn. Blue and 2. Casting Volo. When he enters the battlefield, I create Volo's Journal. And Volo's Journal will be kept track of here. Let's go to turn 4. Untap. Upkeep. Draw. Land for turn. And then I could do something like this. 1, 2, 3. To cast Ronus's Monument. Green creature spells I cast cost 1 less to cast. And whenever I cast a creature spell, target creature I control gets +2/+2 and trample until the end of turn. Then I'll tap this forest for a green, casting Scavenging Ooze. On cast, I will note Ooze. Also on cast, Volo Itinerant Scholar will get +2/+2 and trample. I could swing with him as a 4/5 on turn 4, but whatever. We'll just go through. Untap, upkeep, draw. Land for turn. Let's go ahead and go green, green, and 1. I will cast Beast Whisperer. On cast, it is an elf druid. I'm pretty sure that I have other elves in the deck, so let's mark Druid. And that says whenever I cast a creature spell, I draw a card. Then let's go with blue and 1. Nope, because it's only green creatures but that cost 1 less. So let's just go 1 blue, casting Artificer's Assistant. 1/1 with flying. On cast, it is a bird, so let me mark bird. Whenever I cast a historic spell, I scry 1. Also, since I cast a creature spell, I draw a card. That actually works perfect. I can tap this blue, cast Shorekeeper. That is a creature type trilobite. So now I've got Ooze, Druid, Bird, and Trilobite marked down in my journal. Also on cast, Beast Whisperer sees that, and I draw a card. And Shorekeeper is for 7 and a blue. I can tap him, sacrifice him, and draw 3 cards. I don't know if I'm going to do that, but he's a Trilobite. That looks like all that I can do for this turn. Truth be told, I have cast 3 creatures, so I'd probably put all of that +6/+6 onto Volo. So he'd be an 8/9 trample, and I could swing with him easily. Let's go to turn 6. On tap. Upkeep. Draw. Okay. Let's go with this land for turn. Let's go green and 1, since it costs 1 less, for an Evolution Witness. On cast, that is an Elf Shaman Mutant. I am pretty sure that I still have other elves, so I think I will choose Mutant. There we go. And also on cast, I draw a card. Let's go green and 1, because again, it costs 1 less. Casting Llanowar Green Widow. On cast, let's move this around like this. On cast, that is a spider. It's a 4/3 with reach and trample. It has domain, so for 7 and a green, I can return it from my graveyard to the battlefield tapped. It gains, if this permanent would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. And this ability costs 1 less for each basic land type among lands I control, so it could be done for 5 and a green, just 6. Either way is a spider. On cast, I draw a card. And I'm kind of happy with how I'm sitting. I've still got 1 more turn to go, but what I think I'm going to do is pass the turn. Going to pass the turn, and then when it's off of my turn, probably just before it comes back to me, I will tap these 2, and I will tap Volo, and I will draw a card for each creature type noted for target permanent I control named Volo's Journal, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So for 2, I draw 6. And I would have had to discard, but I'm doing this off of my turn, so I have more control of what I am playing and what I am discarding. I like that. I definitely like that. So let's go ahead and go to this turn 7. On tap. Upkeep, nothing. Draw. Let's play this forest as my land for turn. And how am I thinking with that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'd say let's do it. Let's tap this blue and cast Elusive Otter. It's an otter, so I'm going to mark otter on this journal, and that fills up a page. Here's my second page. And then I'm going to go green, blue, and 1, 2, 3, 4, because it costs one less. Also, before I forget, Elusive Otter being cast draws me a card. Still doesn't change my mind, because I'm going to do Tishana, Voice of Thunder. On cast, Tishana is a Merfolk Shaman. I had another Shaman come out. I don't remember exactly if I have more Merfolk in the deck, but I think that Merfolks are more common than Shaman. I don't know. Let's just go Shaman. Now, that was on cast. Also on cast, Beast Whisperer draws me a card. And then when Tishana, Voice of Thunder resolves, her power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in my hand. I have no maximum hand size, so that's awesome. And when she enters, I draw a card for each creature I control, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 9 is over here. Man, I am just kind of spreading all out with these creatures. And like I'm saying, most of them really don't synergize, so I just have a whole bunch of creatures. Let's see. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Something like that. Something like that. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And like I have mentioned before, I am trying to find a more or less specific creature. It's more like a kind of creature. I did end up drawing one. Just one, because I think I maybe have 3 of them in the deck. Well, I'm out of mana with that. I've done all my draws, I've done all my cast triggers. Nah, except for one. One cast trigger I did miss, and it's too late. That was my Artificer's Assistant. Me casting Tishana, she is a legendary creature, which makes her a historic spell. So I would have been able to scry one, but I think I'm good. Let's see. Yeah. For that first game, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 creature types. I'm pretty proud of that. This Clinkant Sky Mage was the one that I drew. It's a 4-cost, 1/1 flyer. Whenever I draw a card, I put a 1/1 counter on this creature. That just gets out of hand very quick. Next turn, I could cast it. I could draw that many. I could draw 8 cards, and now it's a 9/9 flyer. I'm going to be a 10/10 flyer on my next turn, and then probably even bigger. And actually thinking about it, it's a bird wizard. I'd also be able to mark wizard before it being drawing 9 cards then. So yeah, that's that's kind of the basics of this deck. Honestly, I hope you guys are enjoying, because I am having a blast. Being able to mark trilobites, oozes, and shamans. Ah, what a fun deck. This one's definitely one of my favorites to just show off how weird this deck can be. How a bunch of creatures that really don't synchronize can somehow come together. It really is something like that. Okay. These are all lands, and these are all non-lands. Oh, it's just looking a little bit bendy, oh my gosh. Okay. If I had a favorite creature type in this deck, I would have to say that is Glimmerbairn, my oof. O-U-P-H-E. I have a Glider Baron, which is arguably way better, but got bent in the mail, so sadly I'm just not going to be using it until I maybe have sleeves. Like maybe have sleeves. It might be decent enough for me to okay using it. Because maybe it's not a huge bend, but it's definitely something that it's going to have it forever. It's only in a corner, which is, why it's not a huge bend, but harsh enough of a bend that it's going to just have it forever. It's, I don't know if you're familiar with, oh man, if I can even think of his name, it's some merfolk that, it's on the tip of my tongue. Varel of the Hullclade. There we go. Varel of the Hullclade. He has an ability for a blue and a green. You tap him and you double the number of counters on target. I think it's like artifact, creature, or land, possibly. You just like double 1/1 counters. I think that it even isn't specified to just 1/1 counters. You can just double counters. And 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Glider Baron is very similar, but it's an untap effect. You find a way to tap it. Oh my gosh. Tap it for mana and then you untap it for this ability. Oh my gosh. Well, that looks perfect. That looks great. What a great start. And like I was mentioning, I am not trying to cast creatures until I get Volo out. So, let's go. Draw. The only exceptions are honestly mana creatures. 2 is going to be this, but even still, that would only be like a turn 1 Landwar Elves or Elvish Mystic or something like that, because turn 2 land creature, I'd be able to get out my commander turn 3 anyways. So let's go to turn 3. I mean, I guess there are exceptions, but whatever. It's going to go blue and 2 for Volo, which gets me the journal. Let's get it started. Turn 4. Untap, upkeep, draw. Now I don't have another land, but I do have a Chasm Skulker. So Chasm Skulker, whenever I draw a card, I put a 1/1 counter on him. And, oh, what is that? There we go. Get off my card. Whenever Chasm Skulker dies, when he dies, I put X 1/1 blue squid creature tokens with Island Walk onto the battlefield, where X is the number of 1/1 counters on him. On cast, he is a squid horror. I can think of one other horror in the deck, so let's go squid. And next turn. Untap, upkeep, draw. On draw, he gets a counter. Still none. Then let's go green and 1. Cast 3 Tree Root Weaver. It is a mole druid, so let's mark mole. And then for 1 blue, Shrieking Drake. That's a drake. The 3 Tree Root Weaver is the one I was mentioning. It can tap for 1 of any color, so that was my mana creature. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Let's go to turn 6. Untap, upkeep, draw. On draw, Chasm Skulker gets a counter. I've technically got 4 to work with. So let's do something that I can maybe double cast next turn. Let's go 1, 2, 3. I will cast a Bronze Walrus. On cast, I mark Walrus. When he enters, I scry 2. I will keep that one up top, and I will put that one at the bottom. And he can tap for 1 of any color, so he actually really does help. Let's go. Well, let's see. Turn 7. Untap, upkeep, draw, land, which is what I scried to the top. Now let's see, can I even do anything big? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I did something that's maybe 4, 3 or 4. Let's do this. Let's see how it pans out. 1, 2, 3. Casting Shardless Agent. On cast, it's a 3-cost 2/2 with Cascade. But on cast, it is also a human rogue. I don't know that I have many humans, but I can think of even less rogues. So let's mark rogue. And then Cascade. Nope. And that Cascade has to be less than. So there we go. Kraken Hatchling. The rest go on the bottom in a random order. Kraken Hatchling is then cast. That is a 1-cost 0/4 Kraken. Alright, then I can do something along the lines of, and actually that's the one thing I did forget, is Chasm Skulker for the draw for the turn. And then I think that I'm okay with just drawing too much. So let's tap U2 for 2 to tap Volo. I have marked Squid, Mole, Drake, Walrus, Rogue, Kraken. So that is 6 different creature types. I will draw 6 cards. Chasm Skulker gets 6 counters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have played my land for the turn, which is only a little bit of a shame. Let's tap 3 Tree Root Weaver to cast Arbor Elf. It is an elf druid, and I have filled up 1 page, so let's go. Let's just go elf. Okay, I've got 10 cards in my hand. And I just realized Shrieking Drake's ability. I shouldn't have been able to do that as easily as I did. That being said, it is when he enters the battlefield, I return a creature I control to its owner's hand. That, since I missed it, it's going to be himself. Just as simple as that. Can always move to end step. Okay, I'll be discarding a Forest, the Shrieking Drake, a Mana War, which is a jellyfish, Prime Speaker Vanifar, which is an Elf Ooze Wizard. Those are going to be discarded, and I will keep my hand of 7. And since this is the last test of this play, I will zoom in. Glimmerbairn, I was mentioning, he is my oof. Coiling Oracle, what a pretty shiny one. Snake Elf Druid. Simian Simulacrum, which is an ape. Sigiled Starfish, the Starfish, Patrick the Scryfish. Lorescale Quaddle, which is a snake. Specimen Collector, which is a Vidalcan wizard. And I don't know if you've checked out my infinite combo with this deck, with this card. I do not believe that I have that combo in this deck. I don't think that I have a way to make a copy of Specimen Collector. But I got the oof. And a land. I decided to keep a land for the next turn. Alright. That was that second game. I am pretty happy with that, except for missing so many land drops. I think that the thing that was really keeping this deck alive was the mana creatures. But it's just a silly little deck, so that's alright. I got out that Chasm Skulker very early, and he got up to, I think, a 10/10, and was only going to keep getting bigger. Like I showed, that Lorescale Quaddle was in my hand. That one's another one that gets 1 counters whenever I draw, so I maybe could have gotten that out next turn and started doing more big draws. That would have been cool. Something like that, and then I'll have to shuffle the other ones. Stick them in the middle. There we go. Before I get too far. Here we go. Blank slate. Tabula rasa. Okay. Truth be told, there's not much else to this deck. I think that I've shown off just about all of the cool things that it can do, and trust me, it only gets sillier. Like, this is only up to the 7 turns. It's a great deck, and from what I've played it in groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, people also enjoy just watching it go off. It's fun. I am happy with this. Let's go 1. Draw. Forest, tap, Arbor Elf. Now I'll be able to go turn 2, untap, upkeep, draw. And let's go, there we go. Botanical Sanctum enters tapped unless I control 2 or fewer other lands. So let's go blue, tap this for 1, tap that to untap that, tap that for 2, so that's blue and 2. Volo, which gets me the journal. Turn 3. Untap, upkeep, draw. There we go. Island. Technically got 4 to work with. Let's go ahead and pass. Turn 4. Or more, passing to my end step. Somewhere in there, I will be rude. I'll tap blue, blue, green, and 1. Casting Mystic Snake. It has flash. On cast, it is a snake. That, I think, snake might be one of the few that it's just a snake. No, Elf Druid has 2. Snake, I have 2 snakes. I have the Lore Scale Quaddle, and I have this Mystic Snake. Yeah. Anyways, continuing. Mystic Snake, counters target spell. I just wanted the creature, or the creature type. Let's go to turn 5. Oh, no. Turn 4, because I just passed to turn 4. Untapping, upkeeping, and drawing. Let's go land 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's fine by me. Let's go blue and 2 to cast Mana War. When Mana War enters the battlefield, return target creature to its owner's hand, so I'll just return someone else's creature when it resolves. On cast, it is a jellyfish. And then I will pass to turn 5. Before it officially comes back to me, I will tap this, and then tap Arbor Elf to untap the forest, and then tap that for 2, tap Volo to draw 2 cards. And then, on my turn, that will be untap, upkeep, draw. Let's go with this forest. And I did have a different turn, but then I drew into Chasm Skulker. So on cast, it is a Squid Horror. Let's mark down Squid. Whenever I draw a card, I put a 1/1 counter on Chasm Skulker, and when he dies, I get X 1/1 Island Walk Squids, where X is the number of counters on Chasm Skulker. Let's go ahead and just tap 2. No. I don't need to do that. I can wait. Let's pass the turn, and then before it comes back to me, then I will tap to tap you. I have 3 creature types. I will draw 3 cards. And that is 3 1/1 counters on Chasm Skulker. Then it will go to my turn. Untap. Upkeep. Draw. That's another counter. Let's see. Land for turn. Let's go blue, green, and 1. Cast Lore Scale Quaddle. Now, Lore Scale Quaddle is... I just drew it, but I was mentioning it is just a snake. Mystic Snake is also just a snake, no additional things. My other, I guess, example, side-by-side example, is this is just a jellyfish. I do not have any other creatures in the entire deck that are just a jellyfish. This one is a Squid Horror. I have, I think, other squids. I definitely have another horror. I definitely have other elves. I definitely have other druids, something along those lines. These two just make it to where I don't add another name. So that's all right. It is acceptable. I'm perfectly fine with it, because whenever I draw a card, I put a 1/1 counter on Lore Scale Quaddle. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Let's go blue and 1. for Sizzled Starfish. There we go. On cast, that is Starfish. And then let's just go ahead and pass to this final turn. And yet again, before it officially comes back to me, I will tap this Botanical Sanctum for 1, and then Arbor Elf to untap a forest and tap that forest again for 2. Tap Volo as well. I have 4 creatures listed, so I'll draw 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. That will put 4 1/1 counters on Chasm Skulker, so up to 8. 4 1/1 counters on Lorescale Quaddle. I guess now he's a 9/9, he's a 6/6. Comes back to me. Untap. On this final turn of this final game of this not final video. Heck yeah. Untapping, upkeeping, drawing. Okay. Let's go with this forest as my land for turn. And it really is something where I've got some options. Happens when you draw just a whole bunch of cards. Let's see. But how much mana do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could have 9. Right? Here's how. It'll be tap this forest for a green, use that green for a Utopia Sprawl. With that Utopia Sprawl entering the battlefield, I will choose green, so when the Enchanted Forest is tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional green. And I can tap Arbor Elf to untap this forest, so now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I guess it's 8 in the long run. That's fine. That's actually really funny. Okay. Here's actually what I might end up doing. Tap you for green. Oh, maybe I won't. But I'll show it afterwards, and it's kind of funny. Okay, so I'll tap Utopia Sprawl for green. I'll cast Galta, Primal Hunter. Primal Hunger, but it's also a Primal Hunter. On cast, just because of, math and stuff, my Chasm Skulker actually got a counter because of the draw. So did Lorescale Quaddle. Costs X less, where X is the total power of creatures I control. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So my Chasm Skulker alone makes it cost 10 less, even though it's based off of all of my creatures' power. Has Trample, so it's a 12/12 Trample. On cast, it is an Elder Dinosaur, so I can either put down Elder or Dinosaur, and Elder is shorter, so old guy. Let's go green and 1. Nightshade Dryad. So I have Elf Druids and this Dryad, so they are quite different. Don't need me to tell you. Dryads and Druids are different. Now you could have a Druid Dryad, or a Dryad Druid. There we go. With all of this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't have any way to make just 1 more mana, which is funny. I didn't even really need to. It would have been to evoke an Aether Snipe to get Elemental on that list. Just to have the 1 more mana to go 1, 2. Yeah, because I can't tap him. Tapping 2. Tapping Volo since it's this last turn. I guess I can say I officially passed the turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in hand. So yeah, I'll pass the turn. It is officially over, but before it comes to my next turn, I'll tap 2, tap Volo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 creatures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards drawn. That is 6 counters on Lore Scale Coatl. That is 6 counters on Chasm Skulker. And just because it's cool, I drew a Decanter of Endless Water. Let's actually zoom in on all of this nonsense that I drew. Decanter of Endless Water, that's my no maximum hand size, and I have plenty of it in the deck. Beast Whisperer, that's more draw. Varus Silvery Moon Ranger is a human elf ranger. I knew I had more humans in the deck. 3/3 Reach Ward 1. Whenever I cast a creature or planeswalker, I venture into the dungeon, which is just neat. Whenever I complete a dungeon, I make a 2/2 wolf. I don't do dungeons much, but I have all the dungeons behind me. Kelpie Guide. That one's just great. I could tap to untap Volo to retap and draw more cards. Swarm Champ also. Beast. Fungus Beast. When it enters, it has a 1/1 counter. Whenever a creature I control with a 1/1 counter on it becomes a target of a spell an opponent controls, I make a 1/1 insect. Wanted it to put a 1/1 counter on him. I don't really have much 1/1 counters. I know that I have them on my big guys, which is really the best thing, but yeah, non-synergizing creatures, that's what I'm talking about. Aether Snipe is an elemental. I had Prime Speaker Vanifar, Elf Ooze Wizard, Kogla, again, it's my ape. And this was the thing that was funny. Vivian on the Hunt. +2 ability, I may sacrifice a creature. If I do, I search my library for a creature card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrificed creature's mana value, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle. I could have sacrificed that Chasm Skulker, which before I got those counters, it would have been 9, and it's equal to the 1/1 counters on it, so I would have made 9 1/1 Island Walk squids, and been able to search for my Clinkant Sky Mage, which is my flying creature that whenever I draw a card, it gets a 1/1 counter. So that was just kind of funny. Either way, I think the rest of the ones were just lands, and that was my hand. So yeah, this is just a fun little deck. I really hope that you enjoyed. Hope you stayed till the end, and I hope to catch you next time as well. I plan to keep on... well, my goal is to push out maybe a video a day until the very minimum I have my 30 plus decks all shown off. And after that, I don't know how often it'll be, but to at least have my 30 plus decks out there, I'm going to be doing that pretty frequently. And yeah, it's just going to keep on going from there. I might show off a couple other cool combos that I enjoy, or just kind of what makes my decks. And yeah, this one, it's got silly things. That's what makes it my deck. I hope you enjoyed. Like I was saying, I will see you next time. Later.